Pry open your third eye with me, your big-headed know-it-all, Polymath, Scott Spackey, and guests. Change your mind, change your life. Full episodes, services, knowledge, and all you'll ever need on scottspackey.com and life-mind.com. Are you ready?
Find me where the ocean collides with the sun.
Welcome to Pry Open Your Third Eye. I am your host and Polymath, big-headed know-it-all, Scott Spackey. With me, as so often she is Chloe, our executive producer, my collaborator, my conspirator, my criminal element. So we're here, and we're here for a very particular episode, which we're not that comfortable with. Surprisingly, even though I've written 2 memoirs about me, I didn't write about me. I wrote about these events and experiences. And I'm not comfortable talking about myself, and I know Chloe isn't either. And yet, the significance of this, why we're doing this, is for 2 reasons. One is because if we're going to invite people, or they're going to invite us into their space, into their mind, into their thinking, into their time, then we have an obligation to make sure that they know who and what we are before they listen to us. And I think everyone should do that. Before I listen to anybody about anything, I want to know who you are. I want to know what qualifies you. So you're going to hear a lot of wisdom and knowledge. I'll go that far. And again, you've got to consider the source with everything. Everything in life, you've got to consider the source. So we're doing this in an awkward thing for us. We're not that comfortable to talk about ourselves so much. And so we're doing this because we feel it's important. And secondly, because as we planned this, I realized that these questions that we're going to answer as we interview each other to teach about who we are it's a profound exercise for everyone. So I'm going to tentatively title this episode, Get to Know Yourself by Getting to Know Us. I don't know if I can get away with that, but that really is kind of what this is about, because the questions that we're going to ask each other to get to know who and what we are is things you can and should ask yourself. Have an inner dialogue. Ask things around you, people around you, these things about them. When we get to know ourselves on these levels, these are not things about how tall are you, how much do you weigh, where do you go to work, where'd you go to school, none of that crap. That has very little to do with our actual identities. They're small features of it. We are, at any given moment, the sum total collection of our past thoughts, emotions, and experiences in this very moment. That's what you are. That's who you are. You are a collection of all the past events, thoughts, and emotions up to this very moment, the eternal present. That's your identity. So indeed, our past and our history is significant, but it's not usually, again, where we went to school, where we were born, those kind of things. Those are peripheral features that add in. But who and what we are is our experiences, what we think. And I don't really want to know where somebody went to school so much. I want to know what they learned. I want to know how they learned it. As a matter of fact, very rarely do I find any merit in somebody where they went to school, especially in what do you call it? That's a good thing to stumble on. College. That's not what I meant. Institutional education. And I think that's an appropriate term. I say that both ways, formally and then slanderously. Institutional education, because it is institutional. So we're going to do today. So if you wonder about the podcast, Third Eye Podcast, then we have a separate video for that, a separate session for that teaches what this podcast is about, what its purpose is. This is simply to get to know us, and I think that with the question we're going to be forced to answer for each other is something you can ask yourselves to get to know yourself. Know thyself. I can't think of the Greek philosopher's name. It was just on the tip of my brain who said that. Galen? I don't know. Know thyself. And so, indeed, I think there's tremendous power in that. We need to know who and what we are. It empowers us to be able to navigate through our lives and through everything that we have. And again, I want you to always consider the source. I don't take anything by somebody's word. I want to back things up and verify them. And I learned some time ago how never to be wrong. I just don't talk about shit that I don't know or I'm wrong about. So if you hear me say it, if I say I know it, it's because I've done the work. I'm not saying, oh, well, just because I do. I hate that answer. I say, how do you know that? That's amazing. How do you know that? Where'd you learn that? Oh, I just do. And I'm like, okay, you just went down to the bottom of the rung. I'm not listening to that goddamn thing you say now. And I'm not saying you need to be able to identify the source. I can't usually do that. I don't keep track. But I can assure you that anything that I share with anyone, I've done the research or I have personal experience with it. And that's it. Otherwise, I don't tell them. I'm comfortable with saying, I don't know. But I always follow that with, let's find out. I used to have that sign behind my head at my counseling office that had, I don't know written on it with a circle and a line through it. Could not say I don't know in my office. I don't know. Replace that with, I don't know, but let's find out. Let's figure it out. Anything you don't know about yourself, you don't want somebody else to know it. You got to figure it out for yourself. So we're going to move at an unusual clip and a pace here. We usually just go on as we like to, casual, raw, and unscripted. And this one is going to be a little bit different. We're going to have a little bit of a script. We premeditated these questions and some of our basic answers to get us rolling because Chloe and I are sesquipedantic. You like that multisyllabic word?
Say that again.
Sesquipedantic. Sesquipedalia is, you could say, wordy, which I think is a beautiful word for wordy, right? Sesquipedalia. Again, I think it's Greek or Latin. And it means, you could say, verbose. It's not, I do not mind being considered somebody that talks a lot. I do talk a lot. But I don't want to be perceived as someone that talks too much. What's the difference? The difference is someone that talks a lot, which I do, can be useful and helpful. Somebody talks too much, it's not that useful or helpful. I know a lot of people that talk too much. They probably shouldn't be talking, and they are. I do talk a lot, but I'm always trying to offer something that is substantial and can help you grow and think. So, that being said, we're going to do the uncomfortable. Chloe and I don't like to talk about who and what we are necessarily. And again, I'm a little bit more comfortable with it, I think, than she is. And again, because I don't, in a Zen way, I don't look at it as me. Who am I anyway? I'm an existentialist. There is no I. I'm a Zen person, and I follow the teachings of Don Juan, Carlos Castaneda, and that's kind of where I think of myself as of now. I'm kind of like a teacher and a mentor, like Don Juan in Journey to Ixtlan, and I'm simply trying to help people and guide them. And so I don't look at my ego and my identity myself as anything significant at all. It's the things that I don't even know where they come from. As you will often see, I will say things be like, that's awesome. Where'd that come from? And I'm not saying like that's awesome like I'm awesome. I'm saying, wow, that's an amazing thought. Let's write that down for a moment because I'm as surprised as anybody else. I don't know where they come from. So we're going to go ahead and do everything we can through this. And I've got some rules. Again, normally we're unscripted. We do not rely on notes or scripts or anything like that. In this one, we're going to because otherwise we'll go off on tangents. Chloe and I go down rabbit holes. We go all kinds of different places, and we never know where it's going to end up. So I'm going to refer to this to keep us on track. We're going to keep it somewhat economical. I don't know if that's the right word. Okay, so I got a little note here. We both consider ourselves spiritual beings first, human beings second, if at all. Would you agree with that comment?
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, it's Teilhard de Chardin that I quote in pretty much every one of my books because I always find a way to quote, I am not a human being having a spiritual experience. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. So we both are spiritual people, but we can also relate to the world and all that kind of stuff. So now, we're going to, again, do the unusual. We're going to have some rules for this episode. We're not going to go on and go off in different tangents on the answer we give about who and what we are. And we're going to try to answer the questions first in a sentence, and then we can elaborate on those somewhat briefly. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean we have to answer them.
Try.
We're going to try. So we're going to try and answer, and we premeditated this. Yesterday, I wrote down some questions. She had written some down before. By the way, we already tried to make this episode once. We were online. We were online together for 2 hours, and we did answer the question. But it was wonderful. It was a pretty cool session. But we just didn't think it was what we wanted to achieve by giving people the chance to get to know us, to get to know themselves. And again, so what I realized as I crafted and as we collaborated on these questions for like a self-interview is that these questions are for you. Anyone that hears and listens or sees this, that ask yourself these questions. This is a way to explore who and what you are. So our answers might be frames of reference. So you could say, if I give an answer to a question I'm asked, well, I'm not like that. That's great. That means you, since you know what you're not, then you have some sense of what you are. There's two ways to get to know who and what you are. By either knowing who and what you are, or by knowing who and what you're not. If you don't know what you want, who you want to be, what you want for dinner, for lunch, what do you want to order off the menu? Well, if you don't know, one of the ways to go about that is look and see what you don't want. Eliminate, process of elimination, right? It's a bit longer, it can be circuitous, but it is a fallback. So the questions that we crafted for each other, because we're not the chit-chatty kind of people that really find it that fascinating what people do for a living, where they live and all those kind of things. I realize as I'm going over them that indeed I think a lot of people should be asking these things themselves. So in a way, and then I said this morning before we started that in a way, what I hope this could be for other people is kind of like a counseling session. A free counseling session, I usually cost almost $200 for me to spend an hour or so with me as a counselor, and here you're getting a whole bunch of stuff at no charge. And these are the things where you can explore your mind, your being, your consciousness, and your identity. So, want to get started?
Yeah, let's do this.
Now, I'm also thinking, as I set rules for this, at any time, either one of us can interrupt the other one and say, you're going on too long. And we simply say, let's do this. Let's say moose council. All right? When you say moose council, you're telling somebody to wrap it up. All right? There's a long story behind the moose council I won't go into. It's a different story, different topic, but it's absolutely amazing. Moose council. All right? Moose council means wrap it up. All right?
Sure.
And you do have to do the hand gesture. You can't say moose council. You have to. You don't have to say it. You can do this, or you can say moose council.
All right.
All right. All right. One more disclaimer real quick. There are more questions for me than there are for Chloe for the basic reason that basically Third Eye is kind of my project. It's our project. I can't deny that. She's put tremendous amount of work in all this. But I don't know, it's hard to explain without sounding like an egomaniac, but I'm kind of the source behind it all.
You're the more qualified individual.
There you go. Thank you for saying it. Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
I am not necessarily as qualified. I'm here to.
She's the supportive
help.
personality. I'm more the MC, you could say. I'm the host. She's a producer, and so again, I'm going to be giving her the majority of advice and knowledge and wisdom. I mean, I got a lot of years on her, a lot of life experience and all that, and so I'm the one that does all that, and so therefore, again, I think that it's relevant for you to understand who I am and what I am, instead of thinking, here are the things that I say, like, well, why should I should listen to that? Who is this guy? And again, I want you to know, as you do with all my books and stuff that I write, with Project Addiction and Within the Portal, when you get to know me, my clients get to know me, my students get to know me, and they're like, I don't question it. I know that Scott, also known as Christian On, if he's saying it, he knows that he's done the work for me. I don't have to go do a little work and go look it all up because he's done it for me. Otherwise, he wouldn't say it. Why wouldn't I say it? Because I learned how to not be wrong a long time ago. I just don't talk about shit that I either don't know or I'm wrong about. It used to be, I used to simply say, I learned how to be right a long time ago. I don't say anything I'm wrong about. And that's pretty much it. But again, that's because I say I don't know. I won't talk about stuff that I don't know. So, you shoot one question at me. Well, let's see how this goes.
Okay. Where do you live, and how do you live?
Where I live is the central coast of California. I'm midway kind of between Monterey Peninsula and Santa Cruz, the surf town, college town. And so I'm surrounded by paradise. I mean, I have Highway 1 coastal drives and riding a motorbike on the weekends where it's very beautiful and just very quiet. And so again, yeah, I'm in Central Coast in between Santa Cruz and Monterey. And I live in a 1925 home on a 13-acre apple farm, and I'm in the farm country of this region. So I'm surrounded. So everything around here is vegetable and fruit and berry farms, and mine's an apple farm that's been in a family for 70 to 100 years. And so I leased this house that was built in 1925. It's very charming, very lovely, and again, I've got the PCH going all the way down the coast, where I got farmlands on one side of me and coastal ocean on the other side of me, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And then I've got sequoia forests on the north and the south, and so it's just a pretty amazing place to be. I'm very fortunate. How I live is very simply, I like a rather humble life. I like a kind of a quiet life. I think I've always been this way since I was young. I kind of preferred that. I lived in a lot of cities, and I've spent a lot of time in the cities. I spent most of my life living in Los Angeles, but I've always kind of yearned for and preferred the more country living. And so it's very simple. I mean, I wake up to the gentle percolation of the coffee maker brewing the nectar of life, and then I get up and I take care of the cat, my roommate, and his little food station, and I sit outside with some coffee for about an hour, and I watch the sun come up over the distant hills, and it's just breathtaking. I mean, I get to enjoy my coffee for about an hour, and I used to like take some of my coffee time with, catching up on social media and checking my phone, whatever. Now I don't even bother. I just sit outside the entire time and watch the sunrise. And I live a rather sattvic lifestyle. Then I take a walk, and I walk through the farm, through parts of it for about 20 minutes or so in the morning, and I go by and visit my favorite dog on the next farm, and I call her Dancer because I don't really know her name, because she dances and jumps all over the place when she sees me, and we spend some time together. And then I keep going to the other side of the farm. There's a cow that just had a little baby, and the cows are out there, and there's goats in the distance, and I hear little roosters in the distance, and it's just hard not to really be moved by the fortunate blessings that I have around me. Then I come in and I go to work, and on a good day, I get to do work such as my writing and creating content for this and other things, and counseling, mentoring, and teaching in my private practice to help people and do something that for me is very meaningful, profound, and I get to think and I get to meditate throughout the day. I have a lot of meditation. I do my sadhana, my spiritual practices, and my meditations vary from the walks that I take to formal meditation where I sit and do kirtan, and that's a big part of my life. And yet I'm very active. So I will work throughout the day, but in the afternoon, I head out. I live nearby to a tennis court, and since my injury, I'm not a 4-0 tennis player anymore, but I'm still pretty good, and I can't run around because of the injuries that I had, but I have a ball machine, and it keeps me very active, and it's very challenging, and I enjoy that a lot, and I do that pretty much every day. And then in the afternoons and evenings, I work out. And I have a gym at home that I've had for a long time, and I work out, and I kind of take it easy in the evenings, and it's a little bit lonely. I'm an empty nester. My son's a 30-something firefighter in San Diego. We're very close, but he has his own life. And I like living here in the Central Coast region. I don't want to live in San Diego. I love it here. And so we stay in touch all the time. But yeah, it's a little lonely because I'm single, which comes up with a different question a little bit later. And that's kind of it. I mean, I live a very kind of simple life. And again, I would say that it's a sattvic life. And this is what I recommend to people. This is what I try to help people establish in their life, is a sattvic life. That's an Eastern term, Eastern spiritual term, for basically living in not a life of excess nor of deprivation, but a life of moderation. I enjoy a little bit of alcohol here and there. I love an 18, 30-year-old scotch if I can get one. I like a couple of beers on the weekend. I like a cigar here and there very much. And I like to sit outside and listen to some music, whatever. And so, again, nothing too extreme. I like good food, but I'm not a foodie. And a sattvic lifestyle. I live a very healthy, moderate lifestyle, and I'm very happy with this. I'm very active mentally, spiritually, and physically. I'm very active. And so I like to live by example. What I teach and advise to people to establish a good, healthy lifestyle, that's kind of what I do. And I think the only way that I can persuade people to do this for themselves is to be that. And so I'm not a militant vegetarian or vegan. I don't preach and shun people or shame them for not being that way, but I certainly encourage it. My way of encouraging people for a plant-based diet is to simply take them out to experience great food, to see that you're not going to miss anything if you go to a plant-based diet, and you get all the good karma of not causing any harm to anything else. So that's kind of where I live and how I live. All right, go on.
Okay. So, what are your so-called credentials?
Okay, the reason Chloe asked me that way, my so-called credentials, because she knows that I don't put a lot of stock or credit in those things. I don't feel that the government or a government agency is qualified to certify me as qualified, because I know what I'm doing and I know what I am, and those things are superficial to me. I'm a graduate from HKU, Hard Knocks University. That's my main qualification. So I do also have some other things. I'm just going to rattle through these. And this is not so much for me. It's so people can have some confidence that I know that I'm educated and I know where I'm coming from. So it's a bit of a list because I've been pretty busy. Private practice counselor with the Board of Behavioral Science. A CCHT, certified clinical hypnotherapist. Real quick, this means that clinical is a different qualification. The HMI place that I went to get certified is the only accredited college in hypnotherapy. They're absolutely awesome. Clinical means that I am certified and trained for clinical conditions and medical conditions, phobias, pathologies, trauma, crisis, and even surgery. I've had a couple clients, they didn't want to go in to put under general anesthesia for surgery. They want hypnotherapy instead. I'm certified to do that, and I did it a couple times. Pretty eerie stuff. CATC, Certified Addiction Treatment Counselor. RAS, Registered Addiction Specialist, Certified Life Coach. I'm an accredited specialist acknowledged by California Legislature. I've won several awards from California Legislature and communities. I'm an author of 6 books and many workbooks. I've won 6 awards as an author, including the Benjamin Franklin Silver from IBPA, a very esteemed award. I was pretty proud of that one. Now for the personal and spiritual. I'm a Bhakti yogi since 2005, mentored by Jagadguru Kripalu Maharaj. There's only been 5 Jagadgurus in the history of mankind. He's the 5th one. I can't say enough. I'll get teary-eyed if I do. He's my master. He's a very special saint, an avatar, an enlightened, illumined personality. I was personally mentored with him, and that's where I've learned. That's why I became a Bhakti yogi. I'm a Kundalini and Tantra yogi and had a full-blown Kundalini event in 1992. This was brought on by some tantric sexual yoga, and it was very intense and very profound. It's in my books. I talk about it here and there. I got some workbooks and some other lectures on this, workshops I do regularly. And when I say full-blown, I mean my mind literally exploded out at the top of my head. I could see it, feel it, physically, etc., the entire thing. And most people do not stay sane afterwards, and I barely did. The Hermetic version of that, the sexual practice of Tantra, is called eroto-comatose lucidity. And that brings me to the other one. I'm a third-degree ceremonial magician within the Ordo Templi Orientis that does practice eroto-comatose lucidity. That same sexual practice for Tantra that absolutely explodes your crown chakra, your sahasrara. Founded by Aleister Crowley at the turn of the century after the Order of the Golden Dawn. I'm a Hermetic scientist and Egyptologist, qualified and bona fide there. I'm proficient in all mystical modalities, including numerology, astrology, tarot, the I Ching, Kabbalah, sacred geometry, Ashtanga yoga, and several other yoga paths. I don't use mystical modalities such as numerology and tarot as fortune-telling devices. I use them for what they originally intended to be, to help people develop and to provide spiritual training. They're not for prognostication. That does that too, and I do that as well. But that's not why I use them. I know them and have mastered them and been with them all my life because I see them as spiritual development tools, and that's what they're intended for. So Ashtanga yoga, several yoga paths, and many other modalities. I'm a theologue, expert in religions and spiritual philosophies, including Buddhism. I am also proficient in astronomy, cosmology, quantum physics, biology, physiology, and psychology. Been studying all my life. If I wanted to know it, I studied it and virtually mastered it because I'm a knowledge hound. I got to have more. So I didn't have much faith in colleges. First of all, I grew up poor, I didn't have the money or the access to go to college. It wasn't going to happen. When I did grow up and went and got some college, I personally felt it was insufficient. I didn't want to learn what they forced me to learn. I want to learn everything on a wider scale. They're just kind of regurgitating things that they've been taught and been told to teach. I wanted much more. So I know that my education more than rivals those with PhD degrees. It surpasses them because I wasn't satisfied with what they had to offer. I was very frustrated when the little bit of college that I had because there just wasn't enough. My credentials and certifications were once hung on my wall behind me in my office. This is so people could feel confident that I'm qualified and I'm certified. I'm legally certified to administer services that I do. I called them the funny papers because I actually had this kind of wall of credentials, which I think everyone professional practitioner should have, doctors, etc. So you can see what they are. But I put one up there that I absolutely invented and created just to see if anybody would notice. No one ever did. And that was just my inside little joke that if people think these things are very important, that's not what's important. What qualifies me to do what I do is what's in here and what's in here. That's what it is. And the experiences that I've had, not the education, the formal education. Honestly, when I got for example, the addiction certification, I went through the entire college courses and blah. I didn't learn one thing relevant to what I needed to do. I'm a hardcore addict, dope fiend, and I'm working with people. And all that did was get me legally certified so I could administer services, collect money for it, and legally satisfy the government. I don't apply almost anything they taught me, and I think the reason the recovery industry is such a shambles, a mess, and failure is because what they teach is so basic and fundamental that it's not enough. It's not anywhere near enough. No wonder why they get a lower than 8% success rate, and mine is over 98. That's a classic example that the education that I got from that wasn't enough, and I got my own education, and I applied my own experiences, and that's what made me a bona fide expert and innovator in the addiction field. So those are my so-called credentials, the funny papers that hung on my wall. My turn for you.
Yeah.
You're a wife and mother, yet your arrangement is not very conventional. What is unique about it and why?
Yeah, I have a husband and we have a daughter who's about 4.5. But my husband is 20 years older than me, and we've been committed since the beginning for about 8 years now. But we have not had an official wedding, and we never signed any papers, but we've committed our lives to each other, and I don't need a piece of paper to let me know that this is what we're doing here. We've got an arrangement, but beyond that, we adore each other. He also has a son from a previous marriage who's 21. So there's a huge age difference between my stepson and my daughter, and an age difference between me and my husband. But it seems to work out great for us. Can't help who I fell in love with.
And what I like about what I hear about this arrangement, it reminds me of some of the arrangements that I've had. And I say arrangement, even though it sounds like a very business kind of thing. But arrangement
It does, but it's practical. It is what it is.
And listen, all relationships in human existence are arrangements. They're arrangements. And so, again, what I like about this, it reminds me of some of the arrangements that I've had in the past. Very unconventional. My prior partner, my soulmate, that we're not together anymore, which we may get into a little bit today briefly, that, when we met each other, she lived around the corner from me. And we were near the same age. Prior to her, I was with a woman who was 17 years older than me. And I was with her for 5 years. Wonderful relationship. And when I met my last partner, she lived right around the corner from me, and she had 2 children from a previous marriage, and I had my son, and we were right there. We fell right in love, and we knew we were going to spend our lives together and all that, but we didn't move in together because we didn't want to do the blended family thing. We didn't get a license to go to a church and get the conventional marriage. To us, that was meaningless. That's for us personally. We, instead, when we went to Europe, on our 1-year anniversary, we stood in a church that was 500 years old outside of Florence, Italy, and exchanged vows privately, just the 2 of us. And so that's our style. My son's about to have a wedding 3 months from now, a huge thing, 80, 90 people showing up, and that's for him. So what I like about what you described is that you guys have found an arrangement that fits your personalities, your dynamics, the things that you need. You didn't conform to some conventional ideal simply because you didn't have any imagination. Neither are you trying to reject and resist that and be different. You just did what was right for you. And again, my last partner, we stayed in our own homes because we lived virtually next door to each other. Like, why blend the family? It's good the way it is. It ain't broke. Let's not fix it. You know? Mm-hmm. So I think that's a very mature decision. All right.
All right, my next question for you.
We're doing pretty good, I think. We usually would be off on tangents already.
What do you value, cherish, and are passionate about, and why?
Single sentence answer is, what do I value, cherish, and are passionate about? Spiritual knowledge and eternal truths. Eternal truths much different than regular truths. So spiritual knowledge and eternal truths are what I value, cherish, and are passionate about. And in the world, it's romance, well-crafted art, sincerity, and accountability. Now, and then I said, I'm a solipsist, so either I'm all in or I'm all in or all indifferent about everything. Yeah, I am either extremely passionate and intensely into something where I'm going to become a master and expert at it, or I'm just not even going to bother. And I'm not bothering that because it's harder, because literally if I like something, I'm like, I love it. I don't have a lot of gray areas. I either love something and I'm into it big time, where I become a master at it, or I just totally, it's not even on my radar. So ideally, my passion and interests are spiritual and eternal truths, the big picture things, the profound things. I'm a snob that way. I don't bother with the world that much. And in the worldly way, again, I do like some conventional things. Sports I absolutely love, and because they're unpredictable. And art, sincerity, and again, accountability. And what was the other? Sincerity, I think I said. Sincerity and accountability. Those two features in a human being are paramount to me. If someone lacks sincerity or accountability, again, I'm indifferent. I'm not going to hate them. I'm not going to dislike them. They're just not even going to register to me. I literally won't even interact with them. I can sense when somebody has sincerity and accountability. Sincerity is different from accountability. When I am often asked as a counselor, what's wrong with the world? What's wrong with people? What's the difference between good people and bad people? Sincerity and accountability. Sincerity, being genuine and true to who you are. You've taken the time and put in the work to get to know yourself. I respect that. If you don't, I got no time for you. If you don't think you're worth getting to know, then you're certainly not getting worth knowing to me. And accountability. Are you accountable for your own shit? For your own stuff? Everything, the good and the bad. Are you accountable? Do you take responsibility and accountability for everything that you come in contact with? Not avoiding, not displacing it, or putting it off on other people. Are you accountable? So, in the world, those two things are very important to me. I'm waiting for like a grade or a comment.
No?
All right. Okay, here's one for you, Chloe. And again, I want to remind people, if you're listening to this, ask yourselves these questions. Those are about the first couple we're about conventions we're going to get. Do you want to have a legacy? Why or why not? And what would it be? So first question is, it's one question in two parts. Do you want to have a legacy? Do you want to have something to be remembered by?
I have an answer that I wrote.
Uh-huh.
It's very concise. I do not have a desire to leave a legacy, but we will all leave an impact on people whether we like it or not. So it's not about whether I want it. It's
That's right.
that I acknowledge
You're
that
going to make one anyway.
Yeah. So I want to, therefore, yeah, I do want to be in control and cultivating who I am. And, the two words that you just used of sincerity or authenticity and accountability are really important to me in my life as well. They seem to be themes that continue. So I do want to be someone that's accountable. I don't like to leave loose ends. It weighs on me. I can't leave things behind. They'll be that little voice in the back of my head that's like,
Well, why can't you just
gotta
let
go.
it go? Everybody says let it go. Just let it go. Don't let it bother you. Why can't you just let it go? Some people do. Other people just let. And I see them. They literally just let it go. They don't give a shit.
If I truly realize this isn't mine to deal with, I'm able to let it go.
Right.
And there I do come to a place of acceptance and the lack of control and moving on.
Yeah,
but if
fuck
I
it.
have,
Your thing, go ahead.
I tend to really circle back around and see like, well, how could I have been involved? And what did I do or didn't do in a situation that that affected the situation, good or bad? So the legacy I want to leave is one that I'm thoughtful and considerate, and that's shown through accountability, because that's the action that one would take. But I do think a lot about people and things, and try to go the little, when I can and when I'm able to, go a little bit of the extra mile to show someone that I care about them and that they are special and that they can, I don't know, receive a little something, even if it's just a word of encouragement or a piece of artwork, something.
That's sweet. And honestly, I don't have that. I hope I leave something more positive than when I came on the scene with somebody, but ultimately I don't care. All that really matters to me is, did I say or do anything was I correct? Was I a good person? Did I act appropriately and correctly? Whether they got anything out of it, that's up to them. I can't change that. And it doesn't really bother me. A little bit. I want them to benefit, and so if I may nutshell what you just said, basically you said that your legacy, if people are going to think of you when you're gone, you hope that they think of you as somebody that was sincere and accountable. That when they think of you, this is somebody that I relied on, that I could trust, basically a good legacy. Somebody that I think of favorably. And again, not in a charming personality, cute or anything kind of way. It's simply, that's a good person. That's a being of quality.
I also like what you said about leaving anything better than when you left it, or when you arrived, rather. When you anytime you leave, that you leave something behind better off than when you first came.
Yeah, and let me tell you, as a counselor, that's like my creed. I have to ask myself every night in my practice, I need to go to bed and know that whether I aced it or made everyone's life perfect or not, can I be at peace with what I offered? Is their life better for have known me than not? And if it's not, is that on them for not taking advantage of it, or is that on me for not giving it? I got to know it. And let me tell you, and I think, again, you and I have these kind of similarities. I have to know that. I had a conversation with a client that I've been with for a long time, wonderful young man, and he was praising me in one of these moments, telling me how much he was grateful for me in his life and how much I'd done for him and all this. And I laughed and I said, you don't get it, man. I don't do it for you. He said, what do you mean you don't do it? You do it for all of us. You save so many. You do it. And I said, I don't do it for you. I'm a selfish son of a bitch. I do it for me. I need to know that at the end of the day that I give you good advice. I need to know that if you fail, it ain't on my head. That it's because you didn't listen to what I said, not because I give you bad advice. I need that. I cannot rest without it. So I give great advice and I give good counsel and I make sure it's correct because I don't want that on my head. It ain't about you. I like you and I love you and I want you to succeed and all that. But honestly, if you don't, if I did all I could, that's on you. I don't give a shit. Oh well, that's too bad. I want you to succeed, but if you don't, I want that to be on you. So.
Well, I think as I've gotten older, I've realized like I do still want to help people, but you're
I do
right.
too. I gotta get rid of that.
Is this really about why do I want to help people? And
Well,
is
what's
it
the motive?
Yes, I want other people to succeed. I don't want them to be suffering. I don't
Why?
want to be in suffering.
Why? We're going to be
Because
careful.
I know what it's
we're going to
like.
go down a rabbit hole. We're going to go down rabbit holes. You know, we'll get into
We don't
2
need to do
hours.
that.
But the why is real simple because I'm a selfish son of a bitch. I want the world to be a better place because I got to live in it. I want less shitty people, and I want to. And I figure the best way to fix it is not go to mass shooting, but to help people learn and become better people. And so that's the shortest way. That's the only way that I know. I don't own a gun. I have a mouth and I have a brain. I don't own a gun, so I can't go to mass shooting anyway. And so the way to solve that for me is since I can't change everybody is to simply try to make a dent where I can. And yeah, ultimately, I'm a selfish son of a bitch. I'm simply trying to make the world a better place so I'm more comfortable in living in it because I can't get out of it.
Okay. I'm going to quote from your memoir. My life has been a string of pearls and a crown of thorns. What do you mean by that?
That is one of those quotes that when it came out of me and I was typing it in, I stopped and I pulled back and was like, whoa. That's what I love about being a writer is that, and I channel stuff. I'll write stuff all the time. Since my first book, A Stone's Throw, I'd write stuff and be like, what? That is gorgeous. Like, where did that come from? I can't think of that. I think that is one of those Zen kind of things that for me personally, my life has been undeniable miracles. Stuff that's supernatural, profound. They're just unprecedented, one after the other. Not all good. Some of the miracles and unprecedented features are some very horrific stuff. But no matter what, whether it's good or bad, they're so completely phenomenal and so completely unusual, there just isn't any examples or references you can point to for somebody else. So that's the crown of thorns and a string of pearls. String of pearls because they're beautiful and they're gorgeous. And at the same time, they're a crown of thorns because they set me apart from everybody else. It makes it very hard. I can relate to everybody else because I've experienced what they've done, kids, family, and all these kind of things, and some of the tragedies and all that. But very few people can relate to some of the things that I've experienced. And that makes it kind of lonely because how do you share what's on your mind as any would with any friend when it's not about sports, and instead it's about a life-changing, consciousness rearranging Kundalini event? How do you just banter about that casually with people who won't get, and how do you die, come back, spend 9 days on the other side and have these phenomenal events? How do you change custody laws in California and throughout the nation with your custody case? I got no peers. I got no one to talk to about it. So the tough part for me on that, honestly, I'm getting a little emotional. It's a little bittersweet. It's very lonely. When people do find out about my details, they're fascinated and interested, but then I feel like a circus freak, like a zoo animal. They want to know more, but they want to know because they're curious, and I become a curiosity, and I'm not a curiosity, and it even especially like in dating. I mean, in relationships, I've found that many women are intimidated by the fact that I have this wide spectrum of life experiences, and it makes them feel like less, and that's not what I did it for at all. And I'm like any other human being. I want somebody to put their arm around me and say, well, that's fascinating. That's really cool. Talk about something else, you know? I'm not a curiosity. I don't want to be a zoo animal. And so I like to share. And I figure that these things happen for a reason. And the only reason I can think of is to share them. As I say within the portal, there's only one thing worse than suffering for no reason. And since I've survived so many things, since I've gone through so many things, I've experienced such profound things, such gorgeous things, then I have an obligation, I think, to share those with whoever I can, if they're curious. Not go preach again like a born again and say, you got to know this. Offer it. So, again, string of pearls because they're gorgeous, they're unusual, they're phenomenal. Crown of thorns because they set me apart and they've made it hard for other people to relate to me, and that has set me apart, and that it kind of closes me off from people. That's not that I'm closed off. It makes them a little more wary, I guess. Does that make sense? All right,
Yeah.
I'll leave that alone. There you go. That's the answer to that quote. Let me, for a real quick moment on the string of pearls, crown of thorns. Again, for other people, why this is important to share with you, because I want you to see your trials, tribulations, and your triumphs and your tragedies as both. String of pearls and crown of thorns. I want you to know you're not the only one out there that also can sometimes feel isolated because you have these things you can't share with your peers, that they can't relate. And it's kind of like childbirth. You can talk about it all day long if you want, but there's only so much I can possibly know because I'm a man. I don't know. I can't know and don't know. So you're not going to get any bonding with me. And that can kind of suck if that's all it was, you know? So again, hopefully the value is that people can take from that. What I offered is that whatever you're going through, the profound and the triumphs and the tragedies, they're yours, baby. You got to own them. And as the Buddha said, you live alone and you die alone. And I add in there, and you suffer alone. That's my addition to that. You're born alone, you die alone. Was it Buddha or Nietzsche? Probably Nietzsche. Sounds more Nietzsche than Buddha.
It does.
Anyway.
I agree with that we live and die and suffer alone. However, we can alleviate a bit of this experience by sharing. And I think that's why we're here. This is why we're doing what we're doing, is
True.
to share and create community.
Because why not?
Anyway.
Because there's only anything one worse than suffering for no reason. So why not try to make a difference? Why not try to alleviate something? And indeed, all my addiction work is based on my own goddamn experiences. I suffered big time for what I did, for what I've created. You can't get addiction treatment anywhere else. I invented this stuff. I'm an innovator for it. And so, yes, when I save people's lives, literally salvage their lives, not just their physical life, but truly their existence, but also their family, their careers, their world. And then it's exaltation. I feel like I didn't suffer for no reason. That in that moment only, I'm thinking everything I went through was worth it, because look what it did for them. And I say in that moment only because other than I'm kind of like, no, fuck that, wasn't worth. No, I don't want to go through that shit again. That whole dying thing was really hard. It was really fucking hard, you know. And I didn't do this for everybody else to be inspired. And it's good that people are inspired by it. But again, what I volunteer and say, yeah, you can kill me and put me in a coma and ruin my fucking life and all that shit for many years, just so people can learn and be inspired. Sure. No, I'd like to retire from that if I could. All right. Be my guest. If you'd like to be a guest on Pry Open Your Third Eye, go to scottspackey.com. That's SCOTTSP, as in Paul, ACKEY.com. Inspiring and exciting conversations on many topics to choose from, or submit a topic of your own. scottspackey.com. Be my guest.
What qualifies you to speak and write on such a wide range of subjects?
And again, I think the value for other people is not sitting and hear me talk about me. It's because I want you to be scrutinizing in every source that you go to. We live in a world where people are on YouTube and on social medias and they're talking shit like honestly, Reddit. Do you know that something like 30% of AI Google answers come from Reddit? Okay, I'm
People's
sorry,
opinions.
but Reddit it's a bunch of bros hanging out, just type whatever the fuck they want. Nobody scrutinizes and says you gotta be qualified or you gotta show a document or a degree for this. No, anybody can say it, and so they're just calling this anyway. So, yeah, I'm a polymath. That's a word that I only learned a couple years ago, actually, surprisingly, and so I have a natural ability to learn things quickly and master them, and I've spent all my life studying and learning things. And so what qualifies me is the capacity that I've had for study and knowledge. I've consumed it all my life. Again, I don't just talk about stuff that I haven't studied and I know. So I do the work. And when a client or student comes to me with a problem or a question that I don't know, again, I don't say I don't know. I say I don't know, let's find out. And I had a guy come to me, for example, with a sleep disorder issue. He was a very dear client. I helped him with some other things. And he had a sleep disorder issue. It was very severe. I loved him a lot. I know anything about sleep disorders. I know that he'd been to several specialists. They didn't do shit for him but take his money. And I felt terrible. I'm like, I got to help this guy. So I became a sleep disorder expert within a month, a master. And I am to this day. I mean, I studied and consumed everything I possibly could. And I helped him. As a matter of fact, he's the only one that I couldn't solve completely because his pathology was so severe. But my sleep solution program, it saves a lot of people. And so what qualifies me is that I have a wide range of knowledge and experience. I don't just tell you theoretically what I know. I back it up with experience. Usually my own, because again, I've had the string of pearls and crown of thorns, plethora of experiences that allows me to draw from. And what I find is most of my clients and students, that's what they want to know. Reason they came to me And the way they kept coming to me was because I walked the walk. I didn't just talk the talk. Addiction case example. Nobody wants to go to an addiction specialist that smoked pot in high school and then went to school. No. For addiction, we want to go to somebody that is more of an addict than we were and came through it. Would you want to go to a doctor that never gave to give birth to your baby, that never gave birth before, that never had any practical experience? You want to know that they know what they're doing. Surgery, I want to know they know what they're doing. I want to know, and hopefully maybe they've been through some of it too. And so otherwise it's all theory. And so I think a combination of theory and writing. I was reading since I was 4 years old, and I've been consuming books my entire life. I couldn't get enough. And when I was a child, everything I got, like kids' books, I was like, what is this shit? Like, why can't I get anything good? Because I was reading kids' books, okay? They were fine for kids, but I didn't want them. So by the time I was 11, 12 years old, I read all the Tolkien trilogies, all the way to Silmarillion. I was reading John Steinbeck. That was my favorite author when I was a little boy, and I'm reading Steinbeck. And then I moved into different areas. I mean, Khalil Gibran. And so the sources of my inspiration and my influence are a wide range, and they're the masters. So how do I know I'm a good writer? Because I know what good writing is. Because I read the masters. John Steinbeck was one of my favorite authors since I was a child. Stephen King. He's not just a good horror writer. He's a good fucking writer. He's a master craft at it. Toni Morrison, she's one of the most brilliant, I call her a literary sculptor. She's a literary artist. She's absolutely amazing. And so how do I know I'm a good writer? Because I would only write stuff, and still to this day only write stuff, that I would be okay with them looking at. I would want them to look at stuff that I write and say, that's good, man. And if I don't think you can meet that level, then I'm not doing it. So, because I work my ass off. So the answer to the question of what qualifies me is, I put in the time, I put in the work, and I have my heart behind it and in it.
Here's my second part to that question. You have been many things in this life. You are a psychonaut turned ex-drug addict, a father, a construction worker, a counselor, a truck driver, a scuba diver, traveler of the world, and the spiritual realms. What have you not done?
There's always things that we can never do, a bucket list kind of thing, because we're only one person, and we're only going to live so long. But, yes, the crown of thorns, string of pearls, and accomplishing all these things and doing all these things. And I never thought of myself as extraordinary at all. I was like, I wanted to do shit, so I was like, I'm going to go do it. I wanted to skydive. I saw it, and I was like, I want to try that. So I did it. Scuba diving, I heard about it. I saw it, and I was like, I want to do it. So I went and did it. And so I sampled almost everything anything that interested me, I sampled. Anything I sampled that I liked, I went back. So scuba diving, I sampled, and I fell in love with it. I was like, holy shit, where'd I spend all my life? I was a fanatic, and so I've been doing it all my life. And so the other things, being a truck driver, I mean, my first job, I was probably, 11 years old, and one of my mom's friends was talking about painting his apartment. And I was like, oh, I can do that. I didn't paint a goddamn thing ever in my life. Okay? But I talked the talk because I was like, I can figure it out. Okay? And so I've been doing that all my life. If I didn't know it, I'd figure it out. So I built my construction company, which was very successful. And so anything that I didn't know, I wanted to sample firsthand and try and experiment with it. And so, again, the scuba diving, skydiving, whatever it is, I was not an adventurer. I didn't see myself that way. When I died and came back, then I learned who I was. I was like, oh my God, this guy's like totally extreme. I don't want to be him. He's too much for me. I didn't know. And sure, now I look back and think, okay, like all those things they talk about, like extreme people and all that, I guess I am one. But I never saw myself that way. So, and I encourage people to hear this to have a similar attitude. If you're curious about it, and if you want to sample it, sample it. Dip your toes in the water. Maybe you'll go into the deep end. Maybe you won't. But you won't know until you sample it. And so with my scuba diving, When I first scuba dived, I did what's called a recreational scuba dive. They basically take you out in a little pool of water. It was ocean in Catalina Island. The girl I was with, the woman I was with that took me for my birthday to do this, it was my birthday gift. She was having a panic attack, could not go. I didn't know any of this until the instructor pulled her aside. She told me this later and said, look, your boyfriend, he's a fucking natural at this shit. I can sit up here with you for 2 hours to see if you can get down even 6 feet, or I can take him down and go diving. She said, take him. And I will always be thankful for her for that. And again, I'm glad that she sampled it. And she found out that she couldn't do it. She couldn't clear. Okay? Clear is a very essential thing. And so sample it. Before you say no, if you're curious about it, sample it. And if you like it, do more. Take it further. And if you don't, at least now you know. So much of my endeavors have been driven by this central truth, which is I won't know until I try. And I want to experiment with it. I want to sample it before I say yes or no to it. So that's kind of where it started. That's kind of where it goes. It still does.
You didn't answer my question.
What was it?
What have you not done?
Oh. So if I was curious about it, I did it. So unfortunately, in many ways,
You're not curious anymore.
At this stage of my life, if I haven't done it, it's because I wasn't interested. I don't really want to. So if I wanted to, I did it. And so again, there's a few things that I'm curious about, but most things now, my wanderlust is satisfied. I've traveled the world, every place I wanted to go, pretty much. And while I do enjoy traveling to some, I like being exotic places, but I don't like going there. I didn't used to mind airport. Well, TSA and all that shit. I mean, it's like it's just such a nightmare now.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah,
we
I
all
want to
know
be
this.
there. I just want to go there. Yeah, I want to be there. I want to go to Europe. I love Europe. Okay,
We
I'm
need
comfortable.
teleportation devices.
Huh?
We need some teleportation devices.
Exactly.
Until then,
If you had teleportation, I'm there. I'm going everywhere again. I'm traveling again. I love traveling. But airport, and it's not just TSA. I'm sorry. It's the stupidity of it. It's the way they do it. It's like going to the motherfucking DMV. It's so unbearable. The way, and so not only are you exposed to this arcane, idiotic way of doing it, you're there for hours watching it, and I got to sit there helping. I can't watch this shit, man. I'm gonna go home now. I'm gonna go home, and I'm just gonna sit in my room and stare at the wall. I can't do this anymore. So I've done almost everything that I wanted to do. Same thing with knowledge and study. If I want to know it, I went wholeheartedly into it. And so there's not a lot that I don't know that I want to know. There's tons of stuff that I don't know, like mathematical physics. I don't want to know it. I'm not that good at math. Theoretical physics, I'm not an expert, but I'm pretty good, and I love it. But mathematical, practical physics, I don't want to sit and do math. I don't find that fascinating. So I mean, I don't feel like something's missing. And again, the message I want to impart to other people is just that, is sample it, try it, and if you like it, do more. And yes, I do think that, again, my kind of personal mantra and motto is, if it ain't going to kill me, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it a try.
next.
I think you should.
Next question.
Okay, your turn. You give me a moose counsel?
Yeah.
Gotta give me the moose counsel.
All right. Moose Council.
All right. I gotta scroll back up because yours are above. Oh boy. Okay, here you go. I know you won't. And again, I encourage everyone to ask themselves this question. Tell me one thing you do not like about yourself, and tell me two that you find are admirable. Tell me one thing you don't like about yourself.
I'm trying to answer this in one sentence. And that's one thing that I tend to think of things in a really dual sense. So I see both the good and the bad in it.
And I'm already asking you the dual. So first, just one thing you do not like about yourself.
But the dual is that part of what I don't like about myself is that I can't even answer this question in one sentence. I am really intense, and that can be a lot for me or for other people. But I also love that intensity because
No. Stick
it's
with
one
what
of
you
my
don't.
positive
Stick
sides.
with the one thing. First, we're talking about what you do. One thing you don't like about yourself. So one thing you don't like about yourself is that you can be rather intense, and it can shun people away.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Leave
I
it
like
there.
the intensity of me first. So I don't like the order of this question.
I don't care. I don't. There's something you don't.
So-
Yeah. That's something you don't like, and that's on you. That ain't me the question. That's on you. Okay. We'll get there. And again,
Well, I
to
think
be
this
able
is
to
kind of
accept.
answering about myself because part of the frustrations that I have with myself are that I'm not a simple person. And so things aren't simple for me. They can be very basic, but they can also become quickly so overcomplicated. And I see both the benefit and the drawback to that, but other
Good.
people are like, why are
Good.
you doing this?
That is the value. That is the value of the exercise in the question, indeed, and that's why when everyone asks us, well, first, and notice this is how it's structured. I said, tell me one thing you don't like about yourself. Tell me two that you do. Now, why did I do that?
Well, because it's good to be kind to ourselves and to end off on a good note instead of ending off on something that's negative about yourself. I think it's a good.
That's right.
What's the word I'm looking for? Like
Balance, harmony,
alleviate
balance.
balance and to
Yeah.
relieve the pressure of feeling negatively towards yourself is to balance that out with some positive aspects.
That's right. There are people that I would ask it the opposite way. I've got clients that I would say, tell me two things that you don't like about yourself and one thing that you do. Because they're narcissists and they love everything about themselves. So I'm trying to give them back, trying to give them a little grounding. Okay? So, whatever comes naturally to us. So, again, some people have no problem thinking about good things. And they literally, I'll tell you, a real life example. Had a client and I asked her this exact same question. First I said, tell me something you don't like, tell me something that's bad about you. She thought for a long, long time. By the way, I already knew when I met her, she's somebody that thinks she's perfect. Big, giant ego. That's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to give her some humility, right? And she thinks for a long time, then she says, okay, my fault is that I think I'm just too kind. I'm just too good of a person. And I was like, son of a bitch.
Backfired.
Yeah, that was the thing she didn't like about it. That was that she didn't think, yeah, and I'm like, this is hopeless, right? So
Yeah, I'll take that on. I don't think that I'm too kind. I think that when you think too much and you want to help too much, that can be too much because you're involving yourself maybe unsolicitedly in someone's life, or maybe
That's right.
it's none of your business.
That's
or maybe
right.
you just need to prioritize your own issues.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, I do see that of sometimes you can just be too giving, too much of trying to be a savior, not a savior,
and many
rescuer.
people are avoiding their own problems by giving themselves into other people's.
Yeah.
Clean up your own backyard first. Many people are displacing that. Many therapists.
The beauty of that, though, is that if you start focusing in somebody else's life and you have a little bit of reciprocity in your own self, is that you can say, if I'm hyper-focusing on this issue in this person, maybe I should look at that in me.
Yeah, use that same feature and quality and ability on yourself.
I do that.
Look inwardly
Maybe
first.
to a fault.
But there you go. And so there you go. And then again, that's why this is a twofold question, because indeed, many people, they can focus on that very easily. They can only focus on their faults, and they can't focus on their admiration, their admirabilities. And many people do the opposite. So we got to know which one we are. Again, there's a lot of people that probably won't be listening to this, and I won't listen for very long, that they automatically see their good qualities but can't see their bad ones. We need to be balanced. And so
There's
I
also
remain.
the people who can only focus on the bad qualities in themselves and not the good.
They need to think
and
some of the
depending
good.
on the day, that can be hard for me.
That's right. And that's why I remind people as a counselor, no matter what you're thinking, counterbalance it. When you're doing self-loathing thinking, as an exercise, make sure you counterbalance that with some good stuff too. Yes, I am these things, but I'm also this. Yes, I am this, but And I am that. Not, oh no, I'm not. Don't deny it. Don't say you're not a bad person or nasty or angry or whatever. If you are, you are. Own that shit. But remind yourself that you're also this. And again, if you get stuck on the, oh, I'm great, like I'm perfect, then find the things that are bad too to balance that out. So you have some humility. So whichever it is, it should always be a balance. We should think of the good things about ourselves and simultaneously think about the so-called bad things. Think of the bad things, counterbalance that with some good things. We're not all perfect, but we're not all bad. And we need to be mindful of that.
Can I ask you the next question?
Proceed. No moose count, so go.
This one's kind of a repetition of our other questions. I'll tell you what it is and we can decide if we want to do it or not.
Well, maybe you should decide. It's up to you. Go.
I think you've already answered this. It's like, why are your life experiences so miraculous and how do they play a role into your counseling and mentoring?
Yeah, it is kind of
We really have already touched
yeah.
that. We'll just be repetitive. Okay, here's the next question then. So, what are your superpowers and what I'm going to redo that. Next question here. What is your superpower? And on the flip side of that, what about your kryptonite?
I think superpower is very important for people to understand. I want everyone to ask themselves this question. There's something in most people, I want to say everyone, but I don't believe that shit, so I'm sorry, I'm a cynic. Some people are just not that great, so theoretically it should be everyone has something they're very good at. And that's probably true, but I don't always see that. But let's assume we do. I think generally, somewhere within us, we all have something we're innately, naturally good at. For Roger Federer, it's tennis. I worked my ass off to be a tennis player. Okay, I practiced my ass off. Doesn't matter how much I did, I was never going to be as good as him. So it's not just practice and it's not just training. He has a natural, innate skill that I just don't have. Singing, dancing, I just don't have it. Writing, I do. Writing's natural for me. I can't stop. It has always been natural for me. So my superpowers are like writing, and I have always had an innate, automatic ability to see people for who they are and what their spirit is, not just what they are on the surface. What it is they need, what it is they seek, what it is they need to become better human beings, better spirits. So I've been able to do that since I was a child. Just look at somebody and know a lot, volumes about them that they may not even know. It's accurate. That is what ultimately made me become a counselor, or maybe be good at it anyways, was because I have always had that ability. Literally, when people would walk into my office, I know everything needs to go down before they even sit down. By the way they look, the way they move, it's all this collection of things that I'm interpreting on so many different levels. And it's been reliable and accurate for all my life. So that's a superpower. And again, writing, I think, has always been a very natural thing for me. And kryptonite, I can be very intolerable. Because of the polymathic wide range of thinking and feeling and knowing things, I can definitely be very abrupt with people that it's not that they don't know as much as I do or anything else. I'm totally okay with that. It's that if they embrace that and they accept it and they're okay with it. Again, accountability and sincerity. My kryptonite is that I have very low tolerance and I'm not always very graceful in my intolerance with other people that I don't think are doing the work. And so, see how I'm dressing up? I'm saying I have like some fucking reason. There's no reason. I can be very intolerant. My kryptonite is that I don't like a lot of what goes on in the world. I don't like humanity. I like people usually when I get to know them, but humanity I can't stand. It used to be the other way around. People I like, humanity I love, people I can't stand. And by the way, I found out who that was. You know who said that? Because I quote that often. And you know who that quote comes from? Humanity I love, but people I can't stand.
Who is it?
I thought it was going to be like Kierkegaard or Dostoevsky. Fucking Charles Schultz, the Peanuts cartoon. Yeah, yeah. It is a spin from Dostoevsky, but still. So the superpower is that I can assess things and people, and I see solutions almost right away. The kryptonite is that I have very little patience and tolerance for things that annoy me.
I can resonate with that.
You can what?
I said I can resonate with
Okay,
that.
good. Yeah, and that's, again, this is one of the reasons we get along so well, you know? But,
Yeah.
I mean, it is something that I've been at social gatherings. I mean, I remember this very clearly. And there's this guy, and he was going on about whatever. I don't know. It wasn't interesting to me, right? It was just like chit-chat shit. And I looked at him and I said, I'm sorry, pardon me. I got to go over there now. He goes, what's over there? I'm like, nothing, just not this. And I said that. And that's like some like Rain Man kind of shit, you know? That wasn't cool. But, I mean, I couldn't, I was like, he was like, ma. I was like, I got to get away from this shit. And I don't care how I do. I got to get away, you know?
Yeah.
And so I said, I got to go over there now. What's over there? Not you. It's not him that I didn't like. It was just boring. And so my kryptonite is that when I get bored, I'll just walk away. I don't care. I can't be bored. I can't stand being bored.
Shall I ask you another question?
Yeah.
I got 3 more here. What is your life's purpose? Are you fulfilling it? What do you want your legacy to be?
Okay, these will actually, as big as they are, be a little bit quicker and easier. So, because I did write down single sentence answers. My life's purpose, to become spiritually realized and enlightened so I no longer have to reincarnate as a human being. I'm a spiritualist, so my life purpose is to transcend human existence. I'm a spiritualist. Those are my beliefs. Go to heaven, whatever you want. So I'm a very spiritual person. So that's my purpose. Am I fulfilling it? I'm working on it, man. I'm doing all I can. What the fuck you want from me? I'm doing all I... What I can satisfy with this is with, and again, what I want other people to do for themselves. What is your life purpose? What are you here for? And are you fulfilling it? Well, in many ways, we can never fulfill our life purpose because there should always be something that is so unattainable that always makes us try for even more. But at the same time, if I died tomorrow, I have the peace of knowing, even though I maybe not have achieved it, I was certainly working hard at it and trying everything I could. I wasn't being lazy. I wasn't going to get to it. I'm in it. I'm trying. So I think that's vital. Whatever your life purpose is, get to figure it out. When I'm reading for it, I can give you one. And work on it diligently at the best that you can, whatever your capacity is. If I have a high capacity, then I got to work at that level. So will I pull it off? Anything that I'm doing, whether it was learning how to walk again, scuba dive, or anything, no matter what, I need to know that if I don't pull it off, that it wasn't through lack of trying. I need to know that. I want to know when I die that whatever I didn't achieve and accomplish wasn't because I was procrastinating. That was either because I literally couldn't do it or I ran out of time and I was working on it.
All right.
Legacy.
Next question. Oh, yeah.
Like you, we mirror. I barely care about a legacy or being remembered at all. I simply want to create a body of life and work that is honest and may inspire people when and where they may need it the most. That sounds almost exactly like what you said. I don't care if I get credit as long as God is pleased or proud of me. That I take to heart. He is my divine parent, and I don't feel like God already accepts and loves you unconditionally, and yet I feel like I need to measure up. I need to know. I know that He knows what I'm capable of, and I need to meet that. Because if I don't, then I'm letting Him down, and that's a shame I can't live with. And so, yeah, I don't really care about being remembered so much as I want whatever I leave behind to be something that I could be proud of, and something that will hopefully make a difference in a better way. The world can be a shitty place. I just don't want to be part of that. Again, as you said, you're going to create a legacy one way or the other. You can only choose which ones it's going to be. Is it going to be a good one or a bad one? Because you're going to leave an imprint on this planet. You're going to leave one. Choose which kind. take an active role in crafting that, right? Mm-hmm. Question for you now?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Now again, this is layered. The answers here can apply to a lot of different areas. And so I want people listening to it to apply this. Excuse me. What motivates you to be such an integral part of this project, this podcast project? Let me add in there.
Good question.
Let me add in there for those who don't know. Chloe's virtually a volunteer. She does not get paid, neither do I. We're not making anything off of this. Maybe someday we will. And whatever I may be able to sell in services or to other people, I'm going to share that with her wholeheartedly. She's worked her ass off for this. So often I wonder, like, why is she, you work your ass off, you're involved in a passionate, intense level, you put up with a lot of shit. Why? What motivates you to be a part of this project?
That's a great question. And I do have to ask myself that occasionally because
I bet.
it's good to know. It's good to know why you're involved in something and invested.
When you see my text, you're like, why the fuck why am I doing this? Why the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. But
And
not
yet
all
you
the
do it.
time. No.
So and yet you
I
do it.
think-
So why?
Okay.
What motivates you to be such a big part of this project?
Okay, this is a layered answer. I do want to help people, but I'm also and I'm a hard worker, but I also have a bit of a streak of what could be called laziness, and on the other side is just try to make things the most efficient as possible. And I want to help people, and I'm not really doing much on my own other than in my own family and with my own friends, which is very valuable, yes, but to reach out into a greater, broader community. And I'm kind of piggybacking off of you. I mean, you have built a whole body of work and a legacy, and you've helped me a lot. So I want to share what I've learned through you and what you've given to me with other people. And this is a way in which I can participate in that.
Pay it forward.
Selfishly, I'm learning a lot of stuff that is kind of a free education. I'm not paying to glean a lot of stuff that I'm gleaning from, and I could. A few years back, I was thinking about going into art therapy, and I decided I don't want to go back to school, and I don't want to pay to learn how to be a counselor. And I'm going to figure out some sort of backdoor way into this. And fast forward to here, I see how a lot of those things are playing out. I've been naturally growing and becoming and turning into a better version of myself, and it's almost sort of systematically cleaning up my life. And I want to do that. I want to be the best version of myself for me. I now have a child to do that for and to be an example for. And so this is, whether I like it or not, and sometimes we don't, because it's hard to make change. It's hard to lean into the uncomfortable stuff of your life. But what are the excuses as to what makes me avoid the things that I don't want to do? And as I start to understand or see those excuses that were blocks to putting myself out there, they start to fall away, and I see, well, I really don't have anything else to hide behind. I do want to help people, and I do think it's helpful to help people through sharing your story. So share my story, share my experience. I've been through some weird stuff in my life, and some of it's definitely memoirable. I could write a book, but I don't know, this seems to be the most hands-on and direct way to engage with others. And in the past, we did work together. We had workshops where I was participating with you, and I loved the community, the connection that we had of the other people who would show up to these workshops. And I never met any of these people, but I really appreciated that we were all like-minded, and that there are strangers out there in the world that are trying to evolve. as well. And it's not just, the handful of people that I see.
Right. So, I may condense and rephrase some of that.
Sure.
What I'm hearing is, first of all, you like the challenge. You like tackling things that, again, you don't necessarily like, but it does challenge you. It makes
If
you
it's
grow.
good for me.
Yeah, the challenge being that it makes you experiment with and try to sample and perform and create things that are out of your comfort zone. You also feel the benefit for yourself personally that whatever you get, whatever we manifest here could help other people grow and evolve and change when they may not be able to otherwise. And so to assist in that, there is a humanitarian element to it. On the more selfish level, which I think is a great, which is a selfless selfishness, which is the best kind, that you see an opportunity to be able to collaborate and partner with somebody that can teach you things and mentor you as I do. And yeah, so you realize there's opportunity that everything we work on together in most ways can also teach you things. And yeah, you do get kind of free education with that. So that's admirable to see those opportunities. And again, the benefit for other people listening to this is that I want everybody to see that. I don't find being an opportunist a four-letter word. I'm an opportunist. I look for and seek for opportunity in everything around me all the time. And that has a four-letter word stigma to it. Being an opportunist, like take advantage of. Take advantage of. That's a good thing. Take advantage of things. Every opportunity you get, you should exploit them. Take advantage of it. Exploit is not a bad word. It's a good thing to be able to extract from everything around you what it has to give to you. And then also pay it forward and give it back as well. Recycle it. Regenerate it. Put back into it so it can continue to grow and expand for other people to be able to benefit from as well. And I think that's what motivates us both to be in this project. To try once again, as we were within the portal, the spiritual group that we had. And I say we, even though it was my group. But you become such an integral part of it that evolved into this, that indeed, there are many, many people that seek answers, community, and knowledge and wisdom, all these kind of things. And since we all got to pass the time until we die, why not pass the time and involve with something that at least seemingly makes a difference and people can give a shit about? You know?
Yeah. These are all my areas of interest anyway. I do have a wide variety of interests. I mean, I'm an artist, but I love the mystical realm, and I am a very spiritual person, and I'm pursuing that path, and it's taken me here. It's led me here. And I think there's a strength in accountability and community. We're working together on something. If you try and do anything alone and isolated, there's not a lot of motivation, there's not a lot of drive. Like, I'm not going to self-educate myself without there being some sort of lit fire underneath me. And you really do that for me. It's like I've learned new programs on the computer. I've fine-tuned my art making. Now I'm putting myself out there more. I've actually made prints of things, and instead of just putting that up on the shelf and saying, "Oh, right now I'm a mom, so I'll just draw when I can draw," or whatever. But to actually value myself and my own work, and then have that be hopefully an example for other people to value themselves and the skills they have.
Yeah, I think that, again, what it comes down to for all of us, it should, and we want to try to tap into that. And many people don't care, but they will never see this anyway because they're just not even going to click on anything that's called Pry Open Your Third Eye, is to inspire. Inspiration, motivation are virtual synonyms. And so if in any way we inspire each other, we can inspire other people, they motivate us. Again, we often refer to that session we had with Courtney, the New Year's Resolution Revolution episode, that we had no idea where it was going to begin. Somebody just wanted to quit smoking. It turned into a deep, profound conversation about manifestation and creativity and expressing yourself. And it was just deep and it was emotional. It was absolutely beautiful. And so, and again, when you get to experience something like that, that's unpredictable, that's not anticipated, you can't put a value on that. You just can't put a price on that. You just can't. And so, yeah, the motivation is just that, to participate in something that might make a difference, inspire, or change someone. I mean, that, again, I got to pay my bills. Why not try to earn a living by doing something that can also benefit other people in some good way? If not, if I can't do that, then sure, I guess I'll go work as a server at a Walmart or whatever. I'm not saying anything bad about that. But if I can, while I'm making a living, if I can also do something that I can create and build and do something that's good, why not? And I got to go to bed as a counselor and as an author, knowing that what I'm doing inspires people, changes, and so there's a little bit extra. I got to pay my bills and I got to feel good about it. You know? Why not? You know?
Why are you a bachelor living alone?
It's not entirely by choice, I can assure you of that. I like to say the short answer is because God loves irony. What's the irony about that? Because I seem to be, on paper, everything that women are looking for in a mate on the online dating world, which is virtually toxic. It's so dysfunctional and so bizarre. I'd say it's bizarre. It's surreal out there. And so I seem to be everything they're all looking for. I'm healthy, I'm fit, I have a lot of energy, I'm creative, I'm romantic, all those things. And yet, when I meet women and I start to date, which I've dated quite a bit, they're not capable of actually enjoying that. It's very strange. They want this, they all say it, but then when I interact with them, I don't know if I have a big giant neon sign above my head that says, please bring me your dysfunctional and disordered. I don't know, but that seems to be what I keep meeting, and I used to think that it was me attracting them. Then I thought, you know what, that's all that's out there. So I don't know. I hope to meet somebody. I am a relationship guy. I spent more time in relationships and committed to relationships, and I prefer that. I like to just see one person. I think life is simpler and sweeter. I have enjoyed many great long-term relationships. I had a soulmate. I've had 2 in this lifetime, and yes, you can. And I'm something of a widower, and the unusual thing is I'm the one that died. And basically the trauma and the difficulties surrounding that whole event over several years, which is in my memoir, which is a mind-bending set of events that will break your heart. I mean, what we had together and all these kind of things is just, it's supernatural. It's undeniable. And so I miss that. And I hope to meet somebody, but dating has not worked out too well. I keep things open, but I had one person that turned into a stalker. It was kind of interesting, and it was pretty good for a while. And then, I did kind of a range. I've gotten along very well with some of the younger women that I've dated. For some reason, they're easier to get along with, less uptight about things, less stuck in paradigms. And I've also dated women even older than me and my age, and I'm not confined to a certain type. And so ultimately, the pluses and the minuses, while I prefer to be in a relationship and to be romantic with somebody and intimate, that I enjoy very much, and I'm very good at it. I also enjoy kind of the bachelorhood life where I get to do what I want, when I want, as I want. I'm clean, I'm healthy, I'm smart, and I like to travel, and I get to do a lot of things. And so the upside is that I don't have to wait for somebody, plot the complications and all that. And so, but I miss it too. I really miss having a companion to be close to, intimate with physically as well as mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I like dialogue. I like having conversations. I enjoy going, I don't know, just like enjoying to explore the mysteries of life with someone. I miss that a lot. So that's, again, it's not really by choice. I think God loves irony, and I don't know what it's all about, but I'm just hoping for the best, and in the meantime, living well with what I've got, you know? Hopefully that answers that question. There's always more. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure as soon as I walk away from that question, I'll be like, oh, I should have said this, should have said that. Well.
Who do you live with?
That wasn't on the list. Chow Chow the cat. Chow Chow the cat has his own chapter within the Portal memoir book, and he's totally amazing. So I'm a cat man now. I'm a cat guy. So he is my pet. I don't like that pet thing. He's my roommate, and we've been through a lot together, and we've had a good life together, and I love him a lot, and so I do have some companionship. And don't go there because he's gonna die before me, and that sucks because he's the only companion I have now, and so we're not gonna go there. And I have my son who lives in San Diego, and he's getting married soon. There'll be grandkids in no time and all that.
That's true. Your life is evolving.
Sure, but at the same time, again, as a spiritualist, I'm a Zen kind of person. I'm not. I don't get attached to those kind of things. I mean, if I like people and love people, it's because they're good people. I don't like my son because he's my son. I like my son because he's a cool guy, because he's fun to spend time with usually, because I admire and respect him for sure. He's a goddamn superhero, but I don't like him because of my son. Like me and my dad, we've been estranged all our life, most of my life. He's fine. I'm not close to him because I don't really know him that well. We don't have much in common. So I don't subscribe to the being close to them because they're my family. My sister and I are pretty close, more out of convenience and things like that. So I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind. And also, I have a very low capacity for, again, I said tolerance and adaptability. I mean, I don't want people telling me how to live my life. I don't tell anybody how to live their life. And so I'm vegetarian, I'm spiritual, and all those kind of things, and that comes first. And if you can't accept that, oh well. I'm not going to get mad or angry. I'm just going to go hang out over here. But yeah, I miss love, and I like love, and I'm good at it, and I wish I had more of it in my life. Romantic love, definitely.
Our next question is a question that we're going to both ask each other. Do you want to go first or second?
No, I want you. Do I want to go first as in get asked first? I'll let you decide who goes first.
Do you want to answer first?
Oh, no, I want you to answer first because I think you're trying to avoid and don't want to. So I want to put you on the spot.
All right, let's do this.
All right,
Go ahead.
and I'll go ahead and ask it out loud. So yes, and I think it's very important. All right, and I think it's beautiful. And again, I want everyone to ask themselves this. This is a profound. I don't know where I came up with it. What makes you angry? What makes you calm? What makes you joyful? 3 questions, actually, inside one. First, what makes you angry?
I have something written down.
Good. And I did too. I did one
tangent.
sentence. I did one sentence answer on these. People that listen to this, whether it's this year or 10 years from now, what we're creating here should be something that can stick around for a while. Okay? So what makes you angry?
These days, almost everything. My go-to emotion to deal with fear tends to be anger and frustration. That is a theme in my life where I can just get so frustrated and infuriated. But as a parent especially, there's so many boogeymen in the world, and our world is seeming to like spiral out of control at a super high pace. So yeah, everywhere you look, there's something to be afraid of and to freak out about. And so, yeah, a lot makes me angry. Even things that really should bring me joy, because they're kind of twisted up into, yeah, but, or whatnot. But what I do is that if I do get angry,
has fine print in it.
Yeah, or we're in a complicated world, and maybe I don't even know what I'm afraid of. Maybe I don't even know what I'm mad about. But I am.
It's not that complicated. It's that people make it complicated. That's what can make you angry, is that people make it complicated when it doesn't need to be.
Yeah. So I've been trying to cope with how to express my anger and accept that I might just have a lot of anger. And I got stuff to work through or just to be angry about. And then now, okay. So I do want to counterbalance that, because I don't always want to be an angry person, with calmness and with joy. So what helps make me calm? My first answer is nothing. But that's not true, because I can also be a very chill person. Nature for sure. Being grounded, going outside, being by water, whether it's a stream or a pond. Taking a shower is really meditative for me. It's isolating. It's a place of contemplation and prayer and meditation. That can really ground me as well and calm me down. there's the deep breath exercises, but I mean, honestly, if you're all worked up, that can only help so much until you wrestle with your mental state. And so I think really getting away from taking a break, going outside.
So getting personal space and the environment that you put yourself in, that's a good go-to for creating calm. I like that.
Yeah. And what brings me joy? I was thinking about this last night. Flowers, sunsets and sunrises, like the most incredible, awe-inspiring beauty of the world. Interactions with animals. Looking out your window and being like, oh my God, it's a bald eagle. He's right there. Do you see that? And everyone else in the car is like, no, I can't. And you're like, that's just for me.
Yeah.
If you can,
Yeah.
like, oh wow, that's for you too. But, these special moments that can really just kind of, it's calming, but it's also invigorating and inspiring. And then the last part of what can help spread the joy is seeing other people that are in joy. You see, if I look at my 4.5-year-old daughter and she's just got this look on her face that's just pure, innocent, joyful ecstasy, you can't help but smile.
Yeah.
You can't. So, looking at her, watching her and listening to her giggle and choosing to participate in that. And then you can just switch your focus sometimes.
I think that that animals do this too, but children particularly at a different octave for sure. That we as adults, our innocence and our joy capacity, our innocence has somewhat eroded and it's become shrouded, and that's natural. I don't want to blame us for that. That's what it means to be an adult and survive and get through the world. And you get to a certain point, it's like I don't have much of that left anymore. Children and innocence remind us that innocence exists. We get to see it, and I don't mind that I don't have it when I see it within them because I still get to participate in it vicariously. When I look at my cat, he fucking makes me smile. I just can't help it. I look at him, he's fucking cute, and he just makes me smile. I can't control it.
I've never met Chow Chow, and I adore him.
Right. You've seen some pictures, and you hear a lot of stories about him and stuff, and same with Claire. I mean, I see those pictures, and she fills me up. I look at her and I think, look at how sweet and innocent and charming she is, I never met her. And again, I think that the value, so much of this, is in the fact that as adults, we do not need to beat ourselves up about this. We are not tainted people because we don't naturally have this capacity. And I would say often, with my last soulmate and with my son, I had no innocence of my own, so I want to be near it, since I have none. I don't think I ever did. They say you're born innocent. No, not me. I was reincarnated, and I was very aware of my past lives, so I had no innocence even when I was born. I was very aware. When I was a toddler, I was very aware. And so, to associate, to be near innocence, since I don't have any, I love that. I like being near to things that, in many ways, are better than I am. I want to be near and associate with qualities and features and things that I don't have. And innocence and joy and those things, that's where they come from. So when I see my cat and he's sleeping, all balled up or whatever, or just conked out, and again, a child, when your baby is sleeping, when your baby, you can sit there and just stare at him. Now, an adult, you can't do that. And if you did, then you got to go see somebody because that's just weird, okay? But a child, you can just, like, what are you doing? Staring at the baby. How long have you been doing this? I don't know. Long time. How long are you going to do it? I don't know. I'm so happy now. I don't care,
Till they wake up.
Yeah. Because, and again, it's because what we're seeing is something that we idealize and we know exists and want, but we don't see it, we don't get it. And so when we do see it, it's like, you know what? I just want to enjoy this, right? So I think that's beautiful.
So that's what you agree in the joyful realm. But go back to your anger and calm.
Well, actually, I don't agree with that in the joy realm.
Oh, okay.
I agree with that in my happy realm. Those are happy. Joy, for me, is a different octave. And for me, only spiritual things can bring me actual joy. And I mean like ecstasy. So I'm a snob. Pets, children, all that. Again, I live in these divisions. There's the world, and then there's the divine realm. And for me, there's a division between the two. It's not bad or good, it just is what it is. And so I receive happiness within the world. And you could call it joy. And certainly I have experienced unfathomable pleasures in the world. As a parent, as a pet owner, as you know, sex and romance, all those kind of things. But I have to create a division because I personally need to know that there is another realm in spiritual experience that I've had and experienced myself that are different octaves. Let me give you an example of that, which I think everyone can benefit from. We use the word love a lot, and I think that's a good thing. I love my favorite food. I love my cat. I love my son. I love this woman. I love God. Do you really love that food? Yes, you do. You can love that food. You can love pizza, sure. But is it the same thing as loving your pet? No. Different octaves, different depth. Loving your spouse, different octave. All love, but different octaves of the same thing. Different octaves, different frequencies, for sure. And as you know as a parent, what you thought you knew about love before you had a child is nothing. It's a tiny nothing. And yet, romantic love is ecstatic and profound and fulfilling, and oh my God, it makes you feel like a superhuman. It makes you feel like superpower, right? And yet, and again, when it comes to divine love and divine and spiritual experiences, they're a different octave altogether. It goes from the most profound romantic soulmate love and child and parenting love and divine love. The chasm between that is the same as like pizza to parenting. They're not even the same thing. They are love, but they're not the same thing. So I just personally need to have a division between them. So I will say that those things make me happy and they do bring me joy. But I need to have a different category for the other kind of joy thing as well. Now, as far as angry, I agree with you. What doesn't make me angry? I mean, but at the same time, I'm not really angry. I am also fearful, disappointed, whatever, but I don't really get angry, but I can display that. I can demonstrate that because that's the right emotion for that situation. But do I really personally feel that way? Yes, because I'm like a method actor. I'm feeling whatever I'm experiencing. But at the same time, I'm like, that's got nothing to do with me. I don't really give a shit. So I have a very good detachment from those things.
What about when things are happening to you?
Huh?
But what about when things are directly happening to you? How can you detach from that?
Well, you know, like when I had that train instance the other day and I lost my shit and I was very upset and angry. I was very angry at that. Very angry at the way they handled that when the train got shut down. And I did carry it around. And I did get angry. And I swore plenty and I thumped on shit and whatever. But at the same time, there's another part of me that knows that this does not matter. So I'm fully there in the moment because I think it's healthy and cathartic to react with anger appropriately to a situation that makes you angry. But there's another part of me that is on some subtle simultaneous level that knows that this just doesn't matter. It's just mundane shit, you know? It does matter a lot. I mean, I care about everything that's around me in a huge way, passionately and intensely, but at the same time, simultaneously, there's another part of me that is also aware that this shit doesn't matter. Eternal truths matter. This mundane shit doesn't matter. So there's a separation there. And yet, again, if you see me, you're like, there ain't no separations and shit about you at all. Look, you're losing your shit, man. You're fucking angry. And I'm like, yeah, fucking A, I am. Get the fuck out of my way. Shut the fuck up. But again, all I can tell you is a paradoxical experience is that I am also simultaneously on some other levels aware that it doesn't matter. So, and honestly, I think anger for me is in many ways a medicinal, cathartic thing. I think for all of us, you got to find a way to vent out and express yourself, because otherwise you're going to bottle all that shit up. And that's toxic. That implodes. That's dangerous. So, and so I would say that the cat, the love, those things make me calm. Not calm in the sense like peaceful calm. Love and romance excite me, for sure. But I find a calmness in that. My calmness is in excitability. I feel calm with being excited. It makes me feel peaceful, And again, it's a contradiction in terms, but yeah, I mean that's.
I understand that though.
You do?
I do.
There you go.
I do.
And I think a lot of people do that. They don't. And again, I'm putting into words. Hopefully, we can kind of tap into that. Indeed, what I feel peaceful. It's like I joke around how I don't like to relax. I don't like to relax. What I find relaxing is doing stuff. I find that relaxing. Relaxing and doing nothing, I don't find that relaxing at all. I find that very, very, very tense. I'm uncomfortable with it. For me to relax, I want to do stuff. And again, whether it's just take a walk or whatever, I just want it. Then I'm relaxed. So yeah, I think we can find peace and joy in the anger. I think it's a healthy thing to have, and I'm grateful as a human being that I get to experience that whole spectrum of the human condition. Yeah. And of course, there's the black and the white. There's the polar, the yin and yang of things. Without daytime, you don't really appreciate the nighttime. Without nighttime, you don't really appreciate the daytime. We need the paradox. We need the polarization. We need the two sides to be able to appreciate what we don't have and what we do have. Because until we know the other side of things, we don't really grasp those things to be able to truly embrace them and appreciate them. That's it. What else to say? So again, I'll simply wrap it up by saying that hopefully what people will get out of this, if you listen to this, whether it's today, tomorrow, or 10 years from now, and that's kind of what this is about too. I'm trying to create a body of work, as we both are, the legacy, a body of work that no matter what era it is, it still has value to it. These things are eternal truths. These things are ongoing. They're not simply today. Politics are for today. I'm not into politics. I deal with them because I have to, and I got to stay abreast of what's happening with them. But they're very temporary. They come and go. Hopefully what we're offering in the Get to Know Us as an opportunity to get to know yourself is some questions, some answers, and some ways to answer these things. We're giving you some reference points to be able to explore these concepts for yourself, to grow and evolve as a human being. Or, as a spiritual being. Not as a human being. Fuck that. Human beings don't matter. Spiritual beings matter. That's my personal take on that. So, all right.
Thanks for listening and taking the time to ask yourself possibly some of the same questions that we ask ourselves.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us. If you're listening to this, thanks for inviting us into your reality to share time, and hopefully we made it worth your while. Signing off from prying open your third eye. All right. That'll do. Until next time, leave your third eye open. Full episodes, services, knowledge, and all you'll ever need on scottspackey.com and life-mind.com.
Ocean collides with the sun.
Be my guest. If you'd like to be a guest on Pry Open Your Third Eye, go to scottspackey.com. That's SCOTTSP as in Paul, ACKEY.com. Inspiring and exciting conversations on many topics to choose from, or submit a topic of your own. scottspackey.com. Be my guest.